Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Lights Camera Discussion podcast. As always, we're back at what?
Nothing.
It's a podcaster voice. We're back today to talk about Mel Gibson. This is the part two, and as always, I'm joined with Collie and Todd. So, if you haven't already, please watch our part one of Mel Gibson. We spoke about his first three films, The Man Without a Face, Braveheart, and The Passion of Christ. Today, we're going to be talking about Apocalypto, Hacksaw Ridge, and Flight Risk. Guys, let us get straight into it. So the first film we're going to talk about then is Apocalypto. So as the Mayan kingdom faces its decline, a young man is taken on a perilous journey to a world ruled by fear and oppression. First thoughts, Todd?
Yeah, first watch for me, and really enjoyed it. There was some things that we'll touch on as we go through that I wasn't as much of a fan of, but I think this is one of them that I'll definitely rewatch, and we'll probably get more from it with each subsequent rewatch. Thought performances were strong, some of the ideas were really cool, and some of the set piece moments were fantastic as well. Yeah, really enjoyed it as a first watch.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. I've seen it sort of when it came out around about that time, and I enjoyed it then. Enjoyed it even more now, having a wealth of experience since then. Yeah, it's a brilliant film, fantastic. I say like the production and stuff as well is just absolutely spot on. The use of unknown kind of actors as well, like lends a realism to it as well. So yeah, I just feel tense throughout the whole thing. I think it's fantastic. Collie?
Oh yeah, I love this film. Similar to you, Massey, I did see it around the time it came out. Hadn't seen it for a long time, but yeah, this film's fucking sick. I think just like to quickly touch on why he wanted to make it. He was discussing it with somebody, and he said he wanted to make a chase film, but he wanted to set in a time that you can just jump in a car or whatever. And then came up with this idea, and then it was suggested to him, kind of Planet of the Apes style, to have the ending the way that it is, with the Spanish arriving and stuff like that, which I think the ending of this film, just to skip all the way towards that, skip to the end, nice. I just think that is just a cherry on top of what is an amazing 2.5 hour film, 2.5 hour film almost.
Yep.
And it's just constantly, I think, from maybe 20 minutes in or whatever, it's just like 100 mile an hour the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, certainly, I totally agree that the first 20 minutes is kind of the calm before the storm, isn't it? And then it's just a whirlwind from there on out.
See that, like the opening sequence of the taper, where the fucking tapper,
Yeah.
where the anteater kind of looking thing, that's fucking full blown. But then when they get back to the village, like eat some of the balls and rub that on your balls and all that kind of stuff. Like after that, like there's a bit of comedic stuff going on there, and then after that, it's like, yeah, you're all fucked kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, we normally kind of touch on sort of the actors and stuff in the cast. Obviously, there was a relatively sort of like big cast. Kind of there was a few sort of obviously main characters that were in the film, specifically, of course, Middle Eye, the sort of the younger but more the adult kind of guy. What were your thoughts on the cast? Anything that stood out for yourself, Collie?
I think just top to bottom, they were really, really good. Obviously, he cast quite a lot of people from that region, I guess, for lack of a better term. And due to the non-English nature of the film, I think building on doing that in Passion of the Christ, I think it was executed a little bit better here. But I think that's maybe to do with it's closer to their native language. It is their native language, whereas obviously Jim Caviezel and other like Monica Bellucci had to learn the Aramaic and Latin and stuff, so maybe that's why it was a bit smoother in this film for me. But I thought top to bottom it was good. Like Rudy Youngblood as Jaguar Paw, I thought was excellent. I didn't prefer them because they're the baddies, but the baddies' performances I thought were really, really good. Like proper sinister, like Middle Eye getting in his face and just waiting for Jaguar Paw to like break and show a bit of fear, and he didn't. And I thought their kind of ruthlessness was really, really well portrayed.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the menacing part of the bad guys was really well done. Like when they first obviously turn up to the village and sort of like ransack it, it's crazy. But yeah, definitely, I totally agree. I think it was the use of the sort of or unknown to us kind of cast makes it a lot more authentic and real. Todd, thoughts on the cast?
Yeah, like you said, Jaguar Paw obviously being the protagonist anyway. But do you know what? As an ensemble, especially like you said at the beginning, where they're in the thing and getting them to eat the balls and stuff like that, like it felt. I don't think you get a lot of films like this where it's set in a different time and a different place, where you get them shown like them being friends and mates. It's always very like solemn and very serious. And then all of a sudden, like they've got it's blunted, isn't it? That he like just ripping the piss out of the entire time because he can't have kids and stuff, and like the bit where rubbing it on yourself and running out and like having to sort of cool himself down. Like you don't get that, which I really liked. But yeah, I thought Jaguar Paw was excellent, and again in the moments of going back to sort of how we talked about Mel Gibson in Braveheart, like the moments of action and power, he was excellent. The moments with his wife and child were really tender. But even in like the bit where they're all walking and they're all connected by the neck on that pole, and that guy slips and they're having to sort of like pull him back up, I thought that was like again Rudy Youngblood, his performance there made that moment. It was tense as it was, but he was phenomenal in that. Yeah, he was excellent. But like I say, it's Zero Wolf and Middle Eye who were like the two main, bad guys. And the dynamic between them two was excellent as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, was there anything that stood out? Because obviously we touched on there about like the scene with the almost falling off the cliff and having to do that. There was a load of sort of like actiony kind of scenes in that sort of vein, or tense scenes in that sort of vein. What stood out for yourself, Collie, in that sort of vein?
Oh, the sacrifice scene for sure. I think the cinematography of that was amazing. The kind of dialogue between Jaguar Paw and his pal being like, "Well, I'm not going to die here, actually," and I thought that was quite a bold thing to state before you're about to get your head lobbed off and your heart cut out. But just that moment, and then the eclipsing of the sun. But you're just like, oh, okay, they're saved. Then they're not going to get killed. And then the priest guy's like, I just dispose them out the back. Like we don't need to kill them in front of people, but just like dispose them out the back. And then that whole, well, try and run away kind of thing. I thought that was amazingly tense. And then obviously, Middle Eye's the son, is it? Middle Eye's the son.
Yeah.
He gets killed at that point, and then his dad just goes fucking ballistic. So yeah, from the kind of first painting them blue, you like wonder why they're painted blue, and then I thought the kind of reveal via the painting, or the painting on the wall of like, oh, what happens to the people that are painted blue, and then it shows you them getting like cut open and stuff like that, and you're like, oh well, this isn't good. And then the transition into the scene of that actually like a way to happen and stuff, I thought was really really good. And just like the music, I wouldn't say the music stood out to me as much in this, but I thought the kind of background of it, rather than being in your face, I thought was good. But yeah, just some of the cinematography and the shot of the eclipse, I thought was excellent.
Yeah, I mean it's funny you say about the scene on the walls, like like what happens to folk are painted blue. That as soon as I saw that, I was like, Todd's gonna have a fucking field day with this. Show don't tell. Show don't tell. But yeah, I thought that was a
in a
phenomenal.
while actually.
Yeah, well, I know.
Today you've not said it. I mean,
Yeah. Definitely said it yesterday.
An hour of podcasting, you've not said it. Okay.
I thought a lot of the chase scenes as well with the Jaguar and always getting chased by like two things, the bad guys and the Jaguar through the jungle, sorry, as well. I thought that was really really well done, and again just super tense. Todd, was there anything that stood out for yourself?
For me, it was the run that Collie's already mentioned, where like they said, you can be free type thing. You've just got to make it to the jungle. The way that was shot in terms of from the perspective of the bad guys to like that sort of almost, it was like lower down, wasn't it? It was almost like shooting up over as they were running. I thought that was phenomenal. But like I said at the beginning, I love the sort of, I cared about the characters. I feel like it set it up so well that it wasn't just this is an oppressed people and you should care because they are oppressed. It was like these are actual human beings, like who have families and friendships, and and actual. I think a lot of a lot of the time you miss out on a lot of characterization for a lot of these. Like, do you know what I mean? In these types of films, you do miss out on a lot of characterization, and I thought they did that really well. So, like, when Blunted falls in that sort of in that run scene, I was devastated. Like, and he isn't the protagonist; he's one of the main characters, but he wasn't like the man. And I was devastated because of how he's been set up. You want him to do well. He's been getting shit from his mother-in-law, like, and again, like that's not something that you would typically say in a film about the Mayans. But like, it was amazing that you got that. So yeah, I think like I said, that the run scene was really cool, but it was set up nicely by a story that I cared about.
Mm. And I think as well with as you say, it's important to care about the characters. Even the mother and the kid that were stuck in the kind of like a pit kind of thing. We knew them as being sort of the Jaggerpaw's like partner and kid, and we hadn't really known too much about them though. But we cared about them when they started to rise to the water and things, and and almost getting caught out by the bad guys and stuff as well. I thought that was it's genius to get us to care about the characters as much as we did without firstly them speaking English and without really giving us too much of a backstory, because we kind of almost felt like we knew them as we were there because they'd had that sort of real conversations and stuff. So yeah, no, I totally agree. Any other scenes or any other like cinematography or anything that stood out for you guys at all, Collie?
I thought when he was covered in like the black tar kind of stuff or whatever, and he became the Jaguar, I thought like that could have been a bit too on the nose. And like when he's like crawling in I thought that easily could have been taken as, oh, it's a bit too literal, it's a bit too, oh, he's the Jaguar. But I thought it was really, really well done. I thought his physical performance as well in that point was good. And I'd just like to shout out the frog. I think the frog for me is the MVP. He was just like chilling there, and he was just getting his back rubbed and stuff like that. I thought he was pretty good. Shout out frog.
Was it Kermit or?
No, he was busy.
No. Ah, okay. It was
his little brother.
Yeah, okay.
He actually has a little brother, does he not? What's his
yeah,
little
he
brother
does.
called?
Yeah.
He sings halfway up the stairs. What's his name? Kermit's wee guy.
Can't remember.
I don't know. I'll Google it while you talk.
Yeah, Todd, anything else that stood out for yourself? Or
Just speaking of Jaguarpaw's mother and son in the pit, we'll call it. I thought the Ant Stitches thing was a really cool little I don't know how realistic that is, but that was something that really got me. There were certain elements of it. I don't get Mel Gibson's obsession with slow motion, and I had a look through like the different like cinematographers and stuff, and I was like, is it like a cinematographer's choice? But obviously he works with different ones throughout the different films, and there was some moments where I was just a bit like, you don't need to be like going down the 300 style route of like the Zack Snyder sort of stuff. That made me question a little bit, and the jumping off the waterfall I thought like was a bit goofy, but again it's minor things. You're
a bit goofy.
I'm aware of that. I own it.
I think you mean the CGI for it, though, right? Jumping off the waterfall.
That's what I mean. The CGI for it. But just in terms of, like you said, the temple and the sacrifice, that was incredible. Like, that looked sensational. And I know we don't talk a lot about it, but like the costume design and stuff, and again, I don't know how accurate. I don't know what but in terms of a film and in terms of a spectacle, it was incredible.
Yeah, the production design was a massive standout for me. Like, it was, again, everything felt super real. The small community village to the massive bustling city that it all felt like a real place, and things like that can kind of often get overlooked by performance and stuff. But I think the whole thing almost melded together and made a fantastic film.
One thing that I didn't really pick up on, but it was one of the YouTube reactors, because again I watched some of the similar people that reacted to this. Right at the beginning, like Jaguar Paws, I can't remember if they've got like horizontal lines or whatever, but you know when all the people reveal themselves from around the tree, like the other tribe or whatever, they've got like vertical lines, and she immediately was just like, oh, I wonder if that's how they differentiate between
Tribes.
clans and tribes and stuff like that. And I was like, I never would have picked up on that.
No.
And again, I don't know how historically accurate that is, but even just as a visual choice, it was good. And it's Robin the Frog, by the way. It's his nephew, Kermit's nephew. So shout out Robin.
Shout out Robin.
Should have been nominated for an Oscar personally, but
do you want to quickly touch on the sort of ending? You know, you kind of did at the start, Collie, that the end chase reveals that the bigger picture is the kind of it's a Spanish Armada, isn't it? That come to like convert them and take over.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
What were your thoughts on the ending?
I thought it was a great choice. I think it was on Joe Rogan. He was talking about how he wanted to make this chase film, and then somebody was like, "How are we going to end this?" And between them, I think they came up with like this Planet of the Apes-esque. This is the time period it's set in, or this is the setting of it, and stuff like that. Because I don't think they distinctly say it's the Mayans or where it's set. They're just like it's like Central South America. How like is this an actual time period, or if it's just made up or whatever, and then to time it by being like, oh well, the Spanish are just arriving here. I thought it was good, and it was an interesting choice that the two guys that were chasing him like walked towards the Spanish, whereas Jaguar Paw was like, this doesn't seem very good, so he ran back to his family. I thought it was a really cool choice.
It felt like to me that decision to have the two walk towards it felt like it was a survival instinct versus the sort of curiosity, wasn't it? Like the side of things. So yeah, I really enjoyed that as well. Todd, what do you think of the ending?
No, I'm with you. I thought it was a great choice. And like you said, it just felt like right for his character, like you said, to walk away from it, to be like, we've had enough of the pain, I suppose, that he recognises that they could bring. Yeah, I thought it was excellent.
Perfect. Anything else you want to touch on, or happy enough to go to ratings it?
Yeah, I'll get to rate.
Okay. Todd, what did you give it?
I went 4 stars, but yeah, I went 4 stars.
Collie?
4.5 for me.
I went 4.5 as well. See, Collie, we do agree on some things. Like man without a face. Right, so we'll move on.
I can't believe you rate Apocalypto the same as Man Without a Face. Like, what are we doing here?
You're just going to get even angrier, but it's fine. We're going to move on to the next one. And this is the film that made me want to choose Mel Gibson, because I'd never seen it before and I'd always heard good things. Hacksaw Ridge. So, World War II American Army medic Desmond T. Doss, serving during the Battle of Okinawa, refuses to kill people and becomes the first man in American history to receive the Medal of Honor without firing a shot. Right, first thoughts, Todd?
No, sorry, Massey, because you wanted to watch or choose Mel Gibson because of this, you've never seen it before, I think we should get yours first for once.
Sure. Thank you. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was a really heartwarming story. Told a lot more about the kind of beforehand than I expected it to, like before him going off to the war and stuff, and his relationships. But I thought Andrew Garfield's performance is absolutely spot on. He was phenomenal, and a very moving story. With sometimes with war stories, it can kind of delve into the same sort of themes and things like that. But I thought the like his sort of choices, his personal feelings and stuff were really well kind of articulated to us, so that we can understand him as a person. I thought it was an absolutely phenomenal film. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Todd?
So this is a rewatch for me, and I feel like it not got worse by any drastic measure, but I feel like it wasn't as good on a rewatch. I think it's an incredible story of an incredible human being, and there are moments in it that absolutely take my breath away still. But it was there are moments of it that I don't appreciate as much as I did on the first watch. Again, still rated highly and still enjoyed it. Like it's still a fantastic film. But yeah, it seemed to sort of drop on a rewatch for me.
Collie?
Yeah, I watched this film when it first came out, loved it, and it's a film that I've went back to numerous times. And I was buzzing to rewatch it for this. So yeah, I really enjoyed the performances. I love war movies in general, and this is one of those ones that I consider in the upper tier of them.
Good stuff. Let's get on to the performances. Obviously, centered around Andrew Garfield as Desmond Doss. Again, as I said, when discussing my thoughts, I thought his sort of sensitivity and the way that he carried himself, even and stuck to his pun intended guns. I thought it was a really really good performance from someone who I've kind of rated more and more as I go along like a movie watching sort of journey. I thought he was just absolutely fantastic. Todd, what were your thoughts on Mr. Garfield?
Yeah, like you say, it's that sensitivity, and he doesn't need to be the big, over the top hero. Like, you very easily go down this route of Doss having some kind of like epic speech in the middle of the battlefield and like take his character away. But I think from the minute Andrew Garfield turns around in that hospital, where he's like, "This is what I want to do," type thing, like you buy him, you buy into that character from the word go. I thought he was phenomenal. He's the of everything in this film, and there is a lot of highlights. He's the standout, and I think it's a testimony to, like, he can do the Spider-Man stuff. He can be the cheeky little sort of rapscallion and all that kind of thing. But he's just like that sensitivity works so well, and he sticks by his guns. But yeah, it was a fantastic performance and one, like I say, that makes the film.
Collie?
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. Even just stuff like his accent, when you hear Doss speaking at the end and stuff, I thought he did a really, really good impersonation of him, I guess. I don't mean impersonation in a bad way, but, I think it was fairly accurate. And yeah, similar to what you were saying, Massey, like, I think he's just an actor that, has grown and grown and grown on me from performance to performance. And he just comes across as a really nice guy in real life, and then I think he was able to use some of that, I think, in this, to show that he was caring and stuff. And his one bit that stood out for me is when he comes back down after spending the day and night loaning everybody, and he's like completely shell shocked. I thought that representation of that when they're all trying to calm him down was really, really good. And even one of the standout scenes was when he's in the cell with his to-be girlfriend at the time, I think. He's just like, what was it again? What did he say again? Something about like, how can you love me if I don't, stand by my beliefs and stuff like that. I thought that was a very powerful scene as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what makes it interesting as a film as well, is that like it gives that side to him. Like with a lot of war films, you have a group of people, like a unit that you kind of follow. With him, it was really, I mean, obviously there's other character stuff as well, but with him it's getting to know him and his kind of story and stuff. And I think that's what and without Andrew Garfield, I don't think it's as, again, authentic. I keep saying the word authentic with some of Mel Gibson's film, but it just felt real as well. So yeah, no, I thought he was phenomenal. Obviously getting a nominee for Best Actor Oscar, rightly so. I don't know who won it that year. Do you know, Collier? Did you get it?
No, I can quickly check though.
Yeah, just be interested to see who it was that won it ahead of him.
Oh, Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester by the Sea. I've still not seen that.
Ryan Gosling, La La Land, Viggo Mortensen, Captain Fantastic, and Denzel for Fences was the nominees.
Okay. It's a massive year, that, isn't it?
Yeah. But like Gibson was nominated for
Best Director,
director, and Chazelle won it, and then Moonlight won the Best Picture over this. So, well, worthy nominations though, I think, for this. And it was 100%. Seen for Gibson in general just as a return to kind of Hollywood acceptance, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rightly or wrongly.
Yeah. Okay, so again, there's sort of like a good probably one of the more stronger supporting casts, I would say. You got like, Sam Worthington, Vince Vaughn popping up was kind of a strange one for me. I thought at first he would feel a bit out of place, but certainly I enjoyed him. Hugo Weaving as his dad as well. A really nice mix. Was there anyone that stood out for yourself, Collie, for the?
Well, I think Vince Vaughn was one that definitely stood out for me because I think when this came out, it was prior to Brawl in Cell Block and Dragged Across Concrete. I think he did these in like back to back years. It kind of reminds me of Ross from Friends turning up in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Very similar kind of, wait, he's a comedic actor, like why is he in this kind of serious role kind of thing? But I think he does, I think he absolutely nails it. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But stand out for me was Hugo Weaving as his dad. I thought the bit where he comes into the courtroom especially was really, really strong. Or when he's getting super upset at the dinner table when Doss's brother turns up in his uniform and stuff, and he starts describing, like what happened to his squad mates and stuff in the Great War, or World War One as we know it now, but the Great War as it was referred to in the film. And even Sam Worthington, who I don't really rate too highly, I thought he was excellent. His kind of scene with Doss where he kind of says, I've never been more wrong about somebody in my life, and just because you believe in one thing and I believe in another thing doesn't mean that we can't help and support each other and stuff. I thought like those three guys were really good. I thought his wife was quite good in the very little that she had. I thought she was solid as well.
Absolutely. Todd?
Yeah, Sam Worthington for me, because like you say, he's not somebody who I would ever rave about. He's not somebody who I particularly rate, but I thought he was fantastic in this. I thought he hit the right notes. I think in terms of directing, Mel Gibson's got the absolute best out of him because, like you say, he's not somebody who I would be able to go, yes, he was phenomenal in X, Y, and Z, but I really rated him in this. I thought Vince Vaughn was an interesting one. He was good in the first half when they actually hit Hacksaw Ridge in those last 35 minutes. That was the powerful Vince Vaughn that I just thought was funny, that he's such a big man and everybody's got these assault rifles and he's got this little shooter. Like out of everybody, this 6'5" bloke just has this little like SMG. But yeah, I thought his performance was excellent. I'm with you on Teresa Palmer. I thought she was solid, and kind of it gave the heart of he needs to get back. This is what he needs to get back home for, because it is a love story as well. Like it's centered around this. I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna marry. I thought the proposal moment between them was fantastic. It was so well done and believable. Believable's the word. It was believable performances right the way through. And Hugo Weaving was just, you've got that sort of like almost fear of him aside from the court scene, which was amazing. But yeah, a great supporting cast.
Absolutely. Big shout out for Vince Vaughn when he's giving them all nicknames and stuff in the training. That was absolutely class. Like I really enjoyed that. That's where having like a comedic actor does come to the forefront as well, as they have that timing to also bring that sort of levity to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed. I thought Vince Vaughn was an interesting one, and you're absolutely spot on, Collie, with the David Schwimmer jumping up in Band of Brothers. It did kind of feel like that sort of almost out of place, but actually like a really good performance. So yeah,
because I guess like after like Full Metal Jacket, have you both seen Full Metal Jacket? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I think after, is it Hartman is the drill sergeant in that? Like I think anybody that follows that always has to be careful that they're not parodying that performance. And I think Vaughn does it well with, like, I think the comedic element, exactly like you say, helps that because he's trying to be funny. He's not just being like an actual drill sergeant and just being horrible and stuff like that, like calling them all fatso or whatever. Which is what Hartman does. That's more what I mean. He just bullies them, whereas this is more of a kind of not a camaraderie kind of. Yeah, it's like a camaraderie, like winding each other up kind of thing. I thought what's it? Oh god, I hadn't his name noted, but I've came off the tab now. The guy who's like Smitty, but the actor or whatever. That really reminded me of in Captain America. You know, like when he kicks Doss down the rope when they're training and stuff like that. I thought that really reminded me of you know, the nameless guy that Steve Rogers like argues with during his basic training and stuff when he's tiny. I thought that was a bit not too similar to that, but a little bit different. But I thought their reconnecting was really nice in the foxhole overnight, and then obviously passes away shortly after. But I thought that kind of reconciling was really, really well done.
I thought obviously Mel Gibson's son is one of the guys there, and you could tell it's his son. Like, he looks spitting image of him, like, facial wise.
So Mel Gibson was actually going to be in the Vince Vaughn role. I read on trivia, wow. IMDb trivia, but he wanted to focus more on directing of it, which makes sense. I think it paid off. So
definitely, 100%. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else that stood out, Collie?
I thought the music was really good in this, and it was obviously it's not Horner that did Braveheart and stuff like that, his earlier films, but I thought the music was excellent as well. Some really nice motifs that came back throughout. Kind of in the genre of war films, there's a lot of music that probably sounds similar-ish, but I thought it was differentiated enough that it stood out for me and was worth mentioning.
Absolutely. I thought the way the Ridge was portrayed, you know, as this like kind of foreboding, kind of really scary sort of place to go. I thought that was a really interesting way that they did it. It almost felt like you know, like talking about Brawl in Cell Block 99, where he was like kind of going down the sort of depths of hell and stuff. It was almost like that, but going up the way. Like they were going up to like to meet their doom sort of thing. And I thought the way that they portrayed that it was really good. And obviously, you know, how grey and stuff it was up there, and how grim it was up on the ridge. I thought that was really well portrayed, and you really felt that this was not a place that you wanted to go to. It's not a picnic. It's not basic training anymore. Was there anything else, Todd, that stood out for yourself? With
just the progression of the story and the way that they sort of realised that it was Doss doing it on his own. Like that first body that gets sort of like sent down, and they're just having a conversation at the bottom of the ridge, and then one of them looks and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, and start rushing towards it, and that sort of. They're clocking on that it's Doss, and there's that sort of like murmuring around. I just thought it was really well done. It was really well put together. I think the opening as well, the fact that we open with this like carnage, like it's considering the film is about being able to be a pacifist and still supporting like that you had this montage, I suppose it was, of warfare. I thought was a really cool choice as well.
Oh, the jump scare the first time they're up on top of the ridge when the guy sits up and screams and then gets shot in the back of the head, and the guy that was holding him gets shot in the head, and it just goes fucking like 0 to 100. I mean, one thing about Mel Gibson, you could say he doesn't really shirk away from showing the brutality and stuff like that in all of his films.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one bit just to touch on, like the outro where you see Doss speaking, and he's telling the story of, you know, finding the guy and clearing his eyes and being like, oh, I love how they showed that in the film, and then told him or showed him telling the story after the fact. And then what did he say? He was just like, if that's all that I got out of the war was that feeling, then that was what I was going for, kind of thing. So I thought that was quite nice.
Absolutely. Very brave man. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about with that, or are you happy enough to rate it?
I'm good to rate it.
Perfect. Todd?
4 stars.
4.5 for me. Collie?
4.5 for me as well.
Good stuff. Well, that was Hacksaw Ridge. Now, moving on to the final film in Mel Gibson's filmography, Flight Risk. So, a pilot transports an air marshal accompanying a fugitive to trial. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions soar and trust is tested, as not everyone on board is who they seem. Collie, first thoughts on this film?
This film's rubbish. This film is rubbish, like really, really shite. Like you can kind of tell from the first shot of the outside of the motel where Eddie Brock's staying in. It looks like I don't know. It looks like a loading menu of a game, or, you know, if you've got like wallpaper engine or whatever on your PC and you can be like, oh, mall with some neon lights. It looks so like it just looks terrible, and then just from there, it just never gets above crap until the bald reveal. That's the best
Yeah.
bit of the film.
Absolutely.
I wish they'd not shown that in the trailers and stuff like that. That would have been really good. And the fact that they incorporated that into some of the box sets and stuff that they've released it as physical media is amazing. But yeah, just a crap film, crap performances all around, crap story as well. I just thought, like, to bookend these like 2 episodes in the 6 film filmography of Mel Gibson so far, it's just bizarre. Like, fair enough, like if your first one, like I didn't like his first film, but everything after that was like, for the most part, bangers. And then this is the most recent one. First film in 9 years, I think. Was it 9 years since Hacksaw Ridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
First film in 9 years. Hacksaw Ridge was a return to kind of, like I say, Hollywood accepting him, and then he releases this pish, like, what are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? Just crap. Shite, man. I was dreading getting to this one because I've got stuff to say, but I've also got like nothing to say.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? It's really bad. You're right. It just feels like a bad film. Like, there's a couple of parts where it's like so bad it's funny, and then the rest of it is just bad. There's not even anything you can sort of like laugh at, just because it's really poor. It was the writer's first written film, and you can tell that it's
I can wonder. Y'all
yeah.
need a pilot.
Yeah, it's very poor. Performances not good. As you say, story not good. CGI, everything just not good whatsoever. Todd, did you enjoy it?
Awful. Yeah, just garbage. I feel, but actually, looking back, I might edit me Passion of the Christ review so that there is some level of like spoilers, sorry, some level of daylight between them. It had nothing. It had, apart from bald reveal. It had and like you say, I feel like I've got so little to say about it, and it's not because so little happens. Like this, like I know we'll get to moments and stuff, but just so little happens, and the performances, the script, you can tell it's his first. But that's unfair on people who've written absolute stormers on their debut. I don't know what he's doing. It was awful.
Okay, so ratings. No, let's get started on the cast. So obviously the main 3.
Did you give your thoughts, Massey? Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you give your? Oh, okay, right, okay,
Yeah.
just checking. Sorry.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, okay, is that it? Right, okay.
Yeah, no, I did, didn't I?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I thought I did. Yeah. So the main 3 are Michelle Dockery, Mark Wahlberg, and Topher Grace. Obviously, is Michelle Dockery is the FBI agent that's taken Topher Grace to this trial against this mob boss guy. That Mark Wahlberg is their pilot. What do you think of their performances, of the chemistry or lack thereof? Todd, was there anything that?
I thought Michelle Dockery did the best with what she had, and was probably the only bit of this film that was in any way, shape, or form. I don't think she was good, but I think she was the only part of it that was salvageable. I thought Topher Grace, you know the guy. I wrote his name down. The guy who does the YouTube stuff about Man United, Mark Goldbridge. I know it's a niche reference, and I apologise, but I've seen clips of him, and that's all that Topher Grace reminded me of. Was this wet, like little sort of like?
You leave Mark Goldbridge alone, all right?
I will not, Mr. Man United himself. It wasn't funny. He wasn't like, it was quippy. Was the only phrase I could use. It just felt like they were trying to write these like clever little quips and stuff that just felt forced. Mark Wahlberg, I don't know what is going on there. Like, the accent at first, I didn't realise that was an accent that the character was putting on. But even like, I was like, what is this accent? What is going? It wasn't convincing. And then when he changed his accent, it was still atrocious. The singing, the smiling was like, I've seen some messed up things in films, but that gave me nightmares. Yeah, it was from top to bottom. There wasn't a time where I thought that was believable. We'll touch on some supporting cast as well, but yeah, out of the three of them, I thought Michelle Dockery did the best with what she had, but I don't think she did anything of note.
Collie.
I think you're a bit harsh on Topher Grace. I mean, Topher Grace is what he is. I quite liked him. I thought he was funny. But I just like to quote, Matthew Maller of MovieWeb. Mark Wahlberg goes beast mode was his I think it's actually the poster that I've got on Letterboxd. Because he absolutely does not. Well, I guess it's one of those ones that he was like, oh, if I say something positive about this really shit film, I might actually get on the movie poster or the back of the DVD box or whatever. But yeah, Wahlberg's fucking shite. He's so woeful in this. I thought Michelle Dockery was all right. I quite like Topher Grace. I like him in general. He's just a little goofy, weird guy, and that's who he was playing. Really, we're not moving quite onto it, but just like script wise, when Michelle Dockery like realizes, oh wait, you mentioned that one place before, and now my boss has got like a beach house there. That must mean that it was just fucking shite. Like, obviously you can see what the writers wanted to get at is that like, oh well, somebody's betraying her, but it's not who you think it is. And like, you get what they're attempted to do, but the execution of it is fucking terrible. But yeah, just sums up the whole film. Just a load of shite. I think I said that in my opening. A load of crap, and that's about as constructive of a thing as I can say.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg did this thing for a lot of time where he was just like, he was gurning the whole time. He was like bare his teeth, and, just like for no reason. Like it just felt like he was trying to portray like a man who didn't have all his mental facilities, and the most that he could do was just almost growl, like animalistic kind of. It was so strange, like just such a strange performance. I agree with Michelle Dockery to a point. I think she was not okay. She was crap as well. But like you felt like she was trying, and you kind of got to let her have that. I agree with you, Collie, with Topher Grace. Like that just felt like the Topher Gracest performance. Well, I shouldn't say that word actually. It was like the most Topher Grace that he could have been. And yeah, it was just weird. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened during the writing process and the directing process, but it just felt like Mel Gibson couldn't either allowed his actors like Mark Wahlberg too much freedom to do what he wanted, or gave them the complete wrong direction to actually, give us something memorable on screen. But they were just terrible, absolutely terrible. The rest of the cast, obviously, there's like a couple things. The one that annoyed me the most was Hassan, the guy, the voice. Like that for me just felt cheesy in a bad way. It just felt tacked on, and it just didn't make any sense. And at times I thought he was being sarcastic. At times I thought he was going to be the one that was like in on it and was like going against them. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. I thought he was absolutely terrible. Todd, you kind of nod your head with with the voice.
Awful. Like it's a bad film anyway, but the tone, there was a level of tone there that you could go, I see, like Collie said, I see what they're going for. I don't like it, I don't enjoy it, but I can see what they're going for. And then all of a sudden, this overtly flirtatious guy, where they're in like a life and death situation, he's like, but you have to promise that you're going to take me for dinner first. What? Shut the fuck up! Like it was ridiculous. It was awful, and you could have just. I guess the writing there's trying to be like, right, we need to introduce this person who's going to help them land the plane, but we can't have them just be some generic voice because that's going to be really boring. How do we give them some sort of personality and character? Not like I don't know how, and that's why I'm not writing scripts, but it's got to be better than that. It has to be better than that. It was awful.
Terrible. Collie, anyone else?
No,
I just,
no, I don't understand. Like, we kind of said it when we went on to Braveheart. Like, how did somebody who directed Man Without a Face direct Braveheart? And now I'm just like, how did somebody direct Hacksaw Ridge and then direct this? The thing is, like, see, as a concept, you know, like it's almost like a one place kind of, you know, one location film, and the fact that it could have been just on the plane for the most part, and it was mostly on the plane for the most part. I'm just like, oh, you know, if Hateful Eight's kind of like that, like one location, kind of more like a play and stuff like that. And I like Michelle Dockery from The Gentleman. That was all I've really seen her in and stuff. And like, I think that, like, if everyone had brought their A game, writing included, the concept of this film is really, really good. But the execution, just top to bottom, is crap. And I don't know what Mel Gibson was thinking, to be honest. He phoned it in, just like everybody is. It did, sorry, I think.
Absolutely. I just realised as well that there's they use a different person for Hassan for the voice than there was when he turned up at the end as well.
Really?
Like, it just feels lazy. That just feels super lazy.
I didn't even know
like,
that. That's funny.
Yeah, Maz Ali was the voice, and then Monib Abhat was Hassan at the end. Like, just, you know what I mean? It just feels like they've just went, fuck it, we'll get someone else, or whoever's available, just get them in. Yeah, it just, is not good. I'm struggling with what else to say about this film, to be perfectly honest. Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on? Or
Let's just fucking put ourselves out of misery.
Todd, was definitely nothing else you want to talk about?
Collie touched on it at the beginning. The CGI was just. I said on Letterboxd at one point, thought I was watching Uncharted 3 cutscene where they fly over the sort of the mountainous region, I suppose you could call it, and it just looked like a PS3 graphic. It was awful. But yes,
the other bit was like when she was first putting him on the plane. It's just like a shot of like the airport with the plane, and you can definitely see that it's like little CGI people climbing onto the plane. It's fucking stupid.
Garbage.
Shall we rate it?
Yeah, sure.
Collie, what'd you give it?
I gave it 1. I don't know how I gave it a 1, but yeah, apparently I gave it a 1.
I gave it 1 star as well. It was mainly for the bald reveal. That's the only reason.
That's maybe what it would have been. That, yeah, it would have been.
Because, like, I don't know if you see on my letterbox, but I think you did the same thing, Collie. Just put the Mark Wahlberg face as poster and the backdrop as well. Just because
the backdrop's him like looking into the camera, like that.
Oh,
it's
no,
just like
it's
zoomed in, and it's
oh,
like that.
No. Oh, that's when he gets hit at the end, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, Todd. 5 stars. You said.
Man.
You said 5 stars, Todd. Okay, cool. Right.
Half a star.
Half a star. Perfect.
Same
Okay.
as Passion of the Christ. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not being funny, but Todd, what are we doing here?
Come on, Todd.
I don't give a fuck what you said.
All right, okay. I'll just show.
Shocking, Todd. Shocking.
You
right.
start. So I said to you earlier last night, whenever it was, I was like, don't you fucking start about talking about ratings and stuff like that. You're going to get into trouble tomorrow.
Okay, let us do our rankings then of Mel Gibson's films. So from 1 to 6. Collie, start.
Yeah, sure. So from bottom to top, Flight Risk, Man Without a Face, Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge and Apocalypto could have been swapped about because I think Hacksaw Ridge, maybe just because it's a war film, I bumped it up a little bit, and then Braveheart number 1 by far.
Good stuff. Todd?
The fuck were you shaking your head at, by the way?
Man Without a Face being so low.
Flight Risk, The Passion of the Christ, Man Without a Face, Hacksaw Ridge, Apocalypto, and then Braveheart.
Closest to yourself, Todd. Yeah, Flight Risk bottom by a country mile, then Passion of Christ, and then there's a big jump up in quality. Man Without a Face 4th, Apocalypto 3rd, Hacksaw Ridge 2nd, the Braveheart by a mile out in front. So yeah.
Scotland.
I think it's probably time to announce that Todd's been sacked now.
I think you'll be sacked before Todd.
Is that right? Get it.
Good
Oh,
luck
no,
with
It's a
that.
solo project. We'll just do who is it that does that? I think is it Boney M. I'm sure it's Boney M that like at least 2 or 3 of the members have now done like their own version of Boney M.
Oh.
But they're all called Boney M or something like that. So we just all split off and do our own solo venture and get ringers in for it and just be like, yeah, I'm the official
Yeah.
Lights Camera Discussion podcast.
Get
And
studio
then one of these can be
podcasters
like
in.
the true, Lights Camera. Another one can be like whatever the third one would be. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, doke. Well, that was Mel Gibson. Before we obviously end off the episode, we do have to announce who our next director is. And Collective Unit, I believe it was your choice.
Yeah, so we're gonna go for a biggie. Our last good director of the year, arguably. Paul Thomas Anderson. So it's our first ever 3-parter. So we're going to be covering Hard 8, Boogie Nights, and Magnolia in part 1, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, and The Master in the second part, and Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread, and Licorice Pizza in the third. So this will be our end of July, start of August episodes. So it won't be out in time to cover One Battle After Another, which is his next film. But I thought it'd be a little bit of a, taster as to Paul Thomas Anderson, get us back in the mood for him before the new film with Leo, etc. comes out middle of September, end of September. So yeah,
Excellent stuff. I'm really excited. I've seen a couple of his films, but they're ages ago and stuff. So be good to kind of revisit or visit new ones for me. So yeah, okay, excellent. That is us done. Finished on a high with Flight Risk there. But yeah, as always, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe, give us a like as well, and if you're listening on Spotify, of course, follow us and give us 5 stars, because that's how much we deserve for having gone through Flight Risk. But guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.
cheers everyone.